Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today we are gonna do a rooster. I really like doing roosters and I like anything roosters, so I'm gonna do a rooster. I thank you for everyone that's messaged me on a bunch of social media platforms and my Facebook page and Instagram and all the messages I get. Eventually I'll try to get to everybody's request. I'm gonna run out of blocks eventually, and we don't get that much blocks. We usually get them in the fall, so I will not probably have enough stock, and I'll have to use bigger blocks. But I'll eventually get to everybody. I know there's a lot of, I've had so many requests for an owl, a pig, and a cow. I will try, guys. I will try. Those are the top three requests that I get. So today we are, and if you guys ever have any questions, you can always send me a message. You can always message me here on my channel, or you're more than welcome to private message me on the Crafty shopper page if you have any questions and you don't want to make it public. Now, I know I've had some crafters that messaged me saying that, you know, they've tried certain glues and they fall apart. Now, the thing is, when you are gluing, and I know I mentioned this before in a lot of my other videos, when you put any kind of glue with hot glue, I don't recommend hot glue at all for Jenga blocks when you put them together, because the hot glue actually is more of a thicker film and they will not glue flush with each other, and you cannot put another glue and hot glue together because they will not sit well with each other. And if you do use any kind of glue, whether it's hot glue or any kind of glue, when you're gluing something, if they do fall apart and you're trying to put them back together, please take the residue of the glue off, file it off, sand it off, because you will not get, it will just eventually break off. So I use Wellbond, which is from Rose or Rona. If you guys are familiar with my other videos, anybody that's new, I find it works really great. It's crystal clear, non-toxic like E6000 is. So this is my go-to. Now you can buy it at Michael's. I wouldn't suggest Amazon because you got to pay shipping. Different hardware stores do carry it. So today we are going to do the rooster, and I'm going to do something a little bit different. So we're not really going to see the Jenga blocks. You can stop before I go to the next step. I am going to cover them with feathers, and I'm going to try something a little different this time. So you're going to need the Dollar Tree Jenga blocks, and I'm using 215 at this point. If you watch my videos, sometimes I alter something once it's done, but right now I'm counting 215, and that was a box of 72 count of the blocks. Now, I did just by layers, so I did not glue any of this together. As you can see, it's just by layers because I was just positioning how I want it to look. Now, with the same idea, and now I know I did the duck, but this could also be a duck as well, where you could take, let me just put some, you know, with the bigger chest on it, and you could also make it like that compared to the other duck that I did make. So the first step that we're going to do is we're going to start from the bottom up. You can kind of do what I did. So I just want to have, you know how like roosters have a bigger chest on them. So as you move and you slide them. So I did glue them section by section, well, just by row. So we're going to start up. We will finish the face off once everything's glued together, and the feet will be done after. So the bottom row, and I'm going to try to go slowly. You might want to grab a pen and paper. The bottom row, we're going to start off with 5. The next row 6, because you're kind of doing like on angling, but there is going to be a couple rows that are the same, but they don't look the same because of the way they're angled. So we're going to do 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then we're going to do 5 rows of 12, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to do 11, 10, and then we move to 8, 7, 6, 2 rows of 5, 2 rows of 4, and we are doing 9 rows of 3. So what I would suggest is once you do have each line glued together, I would just move them accordingly, as you can see how much you want the chest to stick out as you do them. Oh, I'm going to move this one here. So it kind of gives that angle. So we still have the top part of the head and the front part here, but what I suggest is doing this first. And then I'm just going to lift them down like this. I'm going to glue, because I have my pattern, how I want to set them. I'm just going to glue them one by one, and then I'm going to let it sit for, even though Well Bond does glue really pretty fast, faster than E6000, I am going to let it sit for a couple hours just to make sure that it actually gets a solid, to make sure it actually properly dries before I start moving around. So I will come back once that's all done. All right, so I did let it glue totally for a few hours. So I'm gonna use some Dollar Tree paint, and if you're from the US, yes, we pay $1.50 for our paint up here in Dollar Tree. So I am gonna paint it all white, and I'm gonna do the back and a few layers black, and then I'm gonna do probably maybe 2-3 coats of the white and just on the ends black, and then I will come back and we'll go on to the next step. All right, so I just wanted to come and show you that I did paint it white. I just did 2 coats. It doesn't need to be a solid, you're gonna be covering it. So like I said, you know, you could leave it as is, but I actually wanted to add feathers to this just to make it fluffy. So what I'm gonna do now, there's a couple different options. It depends on what colors you want to do. I wanted to do like a red, the red top part with white and black feathers. You can get at Dollar Tree, and I'm just gonna look here. So Dollar Tree does carry these feathers. They also come in black as well, and they come in a brown and kind of like a peacock blue. But I'm gonna use some white. I'm gonna use just a couple of them, but I think I'm just gonna skip on the white. And I did buy a feather boa. It's in the kids section at Dollar Tree. And I'm just gonna glue these on. I'm just gonna pull, you can pull them right off. Oh, now one doesn't wanna come off. I'm gonna just cut them or pull them off. And I'm just gonna glue them on to a way that they go in a wave. And I'm gonna do that, I'm just gonna do that probably midway, because little adjustments we're gonna do with the top of the rooster's head and the beak. I haven't added the beak, and I haven't added the feet yet, only because I found that it's just easier to work with it like this than bumping the feet or the head, and those will be the last parts we will do. So I'm gonna do the white on the body, and I'm gonna do the front, and I'm just gonna use hot glue because it's super light pieces and it's just faster to go along. I'm just gonna use hot glue. Now for the back here, I did black only because I want a big black tail on it, and I'm gonna use the Dollar Tree black feathers that I have. They're the same package that comes in, I think there are 12 pieces. I'll let you know how much I'm gonna put. I am gonna cut, no, I did cut one here. And is this the one I bent? Because I want some of it falling over, but Dollar Tree doesn't carry the feather boas. I bought this one at Dollarama. So the Dollarama one, and I used it for, I think the hanging, I used it for another craft. I believe it was the Halloween chandelier I did. So I have some of the leftover feathers there, which I will incorporate in with the Dollar Tree ones. And I'm just gonna use hot glue once again. I just end up, it's just easy enough to cut they're easy enough just to cut them off like that. and I'm just gonna glue them, and I'm just gonna glue them kind of like in a fan, and I will fill the bottom parts in between when I do glue I haven't painted here yet just because I'm not sure how far down I'm gonna go with the black, so I just thought I'd just stop. So once I start gluing these on, and I think I'm doing it backwards, I'll show you this way. I'm just gonna stick some of these black feathers in between and just make it more bushy. Now, there is one that so this one here, just because you know they're not the most curved ones, I actually just bent it, not break it. And this one was already, that you just kind of bend it in a few spots and it will curl over. So when you attach it, it will have that nice, I'm not just gonna cut it here. It will have that nice flow of the tail. And I am gonna do all around on both sides just to give it the nice look. And then when I come back, oh, and for the top part of the head, so I'm gonna stop right there before we do the beak and the top part of the head. So I do have some, a great idea for using the top part of the rooster. But part of his face, you can actually buy these two as well at Dollar Tree. I think I have one open here. Maybe I do. Oh, I do. And they do carry these ones. They're more of a colorful one, so so if you wanted to do like some brown, maybe with orange in there on the body as well. But I am just going to use part of this for the face, and we will get to that after I do the body. I'll come back and show you, and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, so I just wanted to show you how far. So it is a little bit time consuming pulling off the feathers. So I did do it around both sides. I did leave this part of the top of the head and this side as well. And this side we can always fill in with the feathers after. I did the back. Now I want the feathers to be higher. I did the back with the black. So what I'm gonna do, because I want the feathers a little bit higher, I did take some feathers and all I did was glue, I'm gonna show you here. All I did is glue one feather partially down another feather. I just use hot glue. And then what you're gonna wanna do, just to blend them in like it looks like one feather. Let me just move here. So just one longer feather, and I did a bunch already and I already fluffed them out. Make sure that if you want them more curvy, where these ones are just bent a little bit, I just, not broke them off, but just put a little dent in them all the way down to make them curve. And it's just easy enough to do. So then I'm just gonna put them right in here, and I'm gonna make an extra curve on them going up. So I'm just gonna put an extra, so I've used 4 packs altogether of black feathers, and I used 2 white boas for the body. So like I said, both sides and the front. So I'm gonna put an extra 6-7 feathers on the back here to make it go higher. So the next step we're gonna do the head last. We're gonna do the feet. We're not gonna attach them right away, but we're gonna do the feet. So there's different, I guess I thought about a few different ways. So you're gonna take 3 Jenga blocks like such. Sorry guys. 3 blocks this way and 1 block that way. And you're gonna glue them. So I already have one glued. The next thing you're gonna do is I use these little wood dowels. I did cut them. I have a cutter that I use and I already pre-cut them. And you're just gonna touch one. I'm just gonna use some. This is not gonna hold the base. You're just going to glue them like this. This one's on an angle. So once you glue them on, before I I did the other foot already, and I'm going to show you. I just was playing around off camera just to see how I wanted to do it. So before you glue these on, I actually just filed, not the bottom. You want to keep the bottom flat so it's stable, but I just filed around the edges. Like in my other videos, I used my hand sander, the Dremel, but you can use just a coarse nail file. I just did the 4 corners here. Don't go too close to the top. You're not going to see it, and you want it to be flat, not rounded. And here as well, not the heel, not the base. So once you do that, I'm going to show you here. You're going to take some hot glue, and you're just going to go back and forth, all the way around. So, you know, roosters and chickens' feet are not very pretty. So it doesn't look very pretty, but it's, I tried one underneath already, just with the other one on the other side, and I thought it did pretty, it looked pretty good. So, and then you could just keep putting a couple layers on. I did put extras on, and then I used some Dollar Tree paint, the warm beige. I mean, if you want to do the orange, I just thought it would be too orange, and so I went with the warm beige. So, and then we are going to put these on last, but when we glue them on, we're going to do them on an angle like this so they stick out. And you got to remember the base is only it's only the one width, right? So it will sit. The reason why we're going to put these on last is it's just easier to work with the rooster without it falling over and messing with the legs. So you want to do that last, and then you want to let it sit for at least a good 6 hours. I always like to let my glue sit, even though it glues really well if you're not too hard on it, you can move, but I like to let things settle before you start playing around. So that will be the last step of the video that we do, is adding the rooster legs. So the next thing we're going to do is the top of his head. So I grabbed this lion Fun Form craft kit at DT. And we're just gonna, now if you wanted to use your own fun foam, you know, if you want to just make your own instead of grabbing them, I always find there's, you can always use some of this stuff for a later project. I'm just noticing it even has little eyes in there. You never know, you might want to use it for another craft. I just like it because it was thicker. So let's see if these scissors, we're gonna cut this right along the line there. Oop, that piece went flying. And then the next thing, I noticed they're off a little bit, but that's okay. So then we're just gonna hot glue them together. I prefer not to use hot glue, but I'm just gonna use hot glue a little bit and put a little bit on there. I'm just gonna pull off any that's on there, it doesn't really matter. So I'm just gonna grab a pen here. And you can either leave it like this and then move on to the next step, or you can actually, I played around offline, so, excuse me. And you can make little extra cuts, if you know what I mean. You're not going to see the pen marks after anyways. I'm gonna do it like this. So I'm just gonna show you. Just trying to look at my other one. I played around with one off, I don't know if that's gonna be too hard to cut into. It looks like it. Now if that's a bit too rounded, I'm gonna get rid of this one here. And the reason why I'm doing them together on so that they're actually, because if you do them off separate and then put them together, they're going to be, I think, a little bit off. I think I need to switch my scissors. They're getting a little bit dull. Okay. You just want a little bit pointy up top. I'm just going to switch between scissors. I think you get the point of what I mean. I'm going to fix this, excuse me, off camera. I'm going to do another one. Probably going to do a little bit of a slit in here and a little bit in here. Now, once you're done that, excuse me, I don't know what it is. You're going to take hot glue and you're going to do similar to the feet. I'm not going to do it because I'm not done cutting yet, but you're going to do this similar to the feet. And you're just going to make lines all the way down like this. So it looks like kind of veiny, kind of just gives it some kind of texture than just a flat foam piece. Then I'm just going to show you my other one off camera. It's not done. I just played around with it. Then I'm going to use Tuscany Red. You can use whatever color you like. I picked the Tuscany Red one. And this is what it's going to look like after. So it kind of has that little veiny thing on it. And once you get it done, it's going to look good. So on top of the head, I'm going to show you now on the head part. Now where we're going to attach it is, so the bird's facing that way. You're going to get 2 Jenga blocks. You're going to attach them this way. You're going to paint them white. Once you paint them white, the only reason being is because we're going to put some other feathers around it, and then we're going to attach it right on top there. Now I'm going to show you this way. We're going to attach it like that, and then we're going to work around the face. So I'm going to get that done, put that on, and then we're going to move on. All right, so I've attached the comb, the top part of the rooster's head. I did attach the 2 Jenga blocks. I am going to add 2 more as well right here, and I'm going to paint them white, and then one on the other side. So for the beak, I'm just going to move this a little bit out of the way. For the beak, I found 2 pieces pretty comparable to what I thought I would use for a beak, and I'm just going to glue these 2 pieces. They're actually from Dollar Tree, from the race car set that you can buy. They're in the kids section, and I've used some of these. I've had a couple packs of them, so they were kind of mixed up, but I use some pieces from here, I think, for the steering wheel of the Jenga block truck that I created, and I think I used them for the pieces from the door, for the door handles as well. So I believe that's why I use them. They were already open, and I just went through my Jenga block stuff, so, or my wood stuff. So I am going to just glue those together, and then I'm going to just stick them probably right there. I'm just going to hot glue them and hot glue them on. I am going to use the same as the feet. I am going to use the warm beige. I'll put those 2 blocks on. I'm going to paint them white, attach those. Now for the waddle is what they call it, which is under a rooster's beak, or a rooster's beak. I'm just going to use a balloon. I did cut it in half already. I am just going to use some hot glue, and I'm just going to show you what I did. I just put some lines of hot glue in there. Of course, this piece always gets stuck in there. And I'm just going to go along here. Okay, like that. And then you're going to kind of fold it like a sandwich. Ouch. Should have some of those. It's sticking at me. Even if it looks kind of weird like that, if it's not closed all the way, you can just go in and you can just add some more hot glue on along the edge, and then you can just cut it. This one's actually not bad. I did one already and I just cut it shorter, and you can actually just, when you paint the beak, and I'm just going to use the flatter side and just glue it on this side, and then you can glue the other one on the other side. So let's get those things glued on, and then we will move on to the eyes and the rest of the fur around the face. All right, so I wanted to change, I wanted to add something to the feet. So I actually added some claws on there. They just look too stumpy, and I wanted to actually make it look like some rooster's feet. So all I did was easy enough. I mean, they're not for support or anything. It's just for look. So I just took zip tie and I actually just cut maybe half an inch off, a little bit over a half an inch. And I just cut them with scissors, and I just hot glued them on to the ends and just painted them the same color the feet. I think they turn out, well, they're actually pretty ugly, but I just like the look of them. It just makes it more of a rooster with their big claws on there. Now did glue on, and I'm going to turn it this way because I'm going to show you something I did. So I did glue it on the comb, and then I did paint just using the same color, warm beige, on the beak. I added both the balloons and I glued it on an angle. So I'm just going to show you here. I'm just going to cut this. I have 10 million balloons. But when I had it glued together and it looked like this up on top, I actually just cut on an angle, and then I did it that it stuck out a little bit on, I'm just going to show you here, on the rooster, under the beak, only because there's so much fur. I did trim it on the one side. I'm not going to show you the eye because I'm going to show you how to do the eye. I was playing around with it, and I just glued some more feathers up. Now, with the eye, I'm going to do the same thing as the comb on top. I'm just going to use some hot glue, and I'm just going to make some squiggly lines. I am just going to use a button for the eye. It was this way. No, it was this way. And I'm just going to use some squiggly lines because this foam paper that I do, that I have, I just don't find it the proper red, as you can see, to there. So I'm just gonna, once I put the hot glue on and glue the eye on, I'm just gonna paint it with the Tuscany red. And I'll just show you that. So this is what I have so far that as you can see, is just the squiggly lines from the hot glue and the paint, and then I just glued the button right off. I am just going to put some white fur here. I was going to do the red, but I just found it was just too much red on top. So I will go in, I will go back and I will fill in these spots with some fur, some feathers. And I'm just going to cut them shorter because as you can see that all of it is just lots of fur and I don't want it to drown it out. So I will glue some in some spots and I will just trim it down shorter so you can't see the Jenga blocks. Now, as you can see, there's 4 Jenga blocks there. Now I want to put red around the beak. So I just took my foam paper, I measured it out. So on top of the head, you have it like this. I just grabbed my paper and it's all just eyeing. I did not measure with any rulers and I'll just put it on the end. I just did it this way. When you have it this way would be the length that way. And then I just end up cutting it like that. I cut it out and then I just eyed it where the beak was. So I'm going to show you that I'm going to put it there like such. Well, it's a little wider on the other side. I'm going to fix that. And I'm going to do the exact same thing, just a little bit of hot glue around it. And then I'm going to paint it with the Tuscany red. And then I'm going to just glue that on right around the beak. I'm actually going to fix it because I didn't look at it this way and it's still, there's still a little spot open there. Now, once I do that and get the rest on, the reason why I did it reminds me of a kid that my grandparents had, this rooster. They had a ranch that they ran. And I remember outside being a kid, and I think it was about 5, maybe 6, but that's the only really memory I have of, they had roosters and I was playing with the chickens and I remember the rooster chasing me because I was playing with the chickens and I still have this scar to this day on my knuckle. So if you guys have a story about a rooster, I'd love to hear about it. I mean, I see in some kind of funny jokes and people of telling me about roosters chasing them for different reasons and I'll always remember that memory and I have the little scar to prove it. So let me know. This does look like the rooster from the farm, but it's just too black for me on the tail end part of it. So I am just going to add some just a little bit more. I had the white feathers. I am just going to add some white into it just to give it a little bit of, oh, that one won't fit there because it's a little bit too long. I'll probably have to cut it. But like I said, just bend them and I will do that also. Now, my son was looking at it and he was playing with my crafts, which sometimes he touches my stuff and I don't like. But way it was sitting on the flat and he took the actual legs and stuck them this way. They're not painted obviously underneath. But if you don't want it to stand, you could also make it sitting as well, and you could just attach it to the front part. I know it's hard to show because right here, but it actually looked pretty cute. But I'm just going to do it like I was originally going to do and make it stand. But that's just another option, that if you don't want it to put it on the legs, that you could just make it I know it's hard to say. I wish, okay, is just making it sit like such, and it looks super cute like that too, and it's more solid. So you know, that's an option for you. The trick is once you put this back on afterwards is, oh, well, actually just went on super easy, but it's just, you have to make sure when you do glue it on at the very end that you have it balanced. And like I said, is putting them outwards because you can't do them with the feet stick, you know, being wided like that. So let me get the last little parts done. And once I'm done, I will come back and I will show you the finished product. All right, so here's the final product that I wanted to show you. And pretty much, you know, if you wanted to make the tail smaller and make his comb shorter on top and make his waddle shorter, waddle, sorry, shorter. It could be easily a chicken. I thought the feet turned out really good with using the zip ties. I did trim the feathers around the head to be shorter, which I found worked really well. I did add the white feathers, and I'm gonna name him Ozzy. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe if you like my content. And thank you for all you lovely crafters that leave such nice messages. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys soon. Thanks. Bye.